Hey guys, and welcome to this week's work. I am on 2.5. It's called Clearing Decimals, and it's on page 62. So, clearing decimals is just a strategy, it's just a technique, and it's very, very similar to clearing the fractions, which is what we covered last week with 2.4. You don't necessarily have to do it. It's just a way to make your life easier when you're just trying to solve some algebra problems. So I'm going to just jump right in and give you an idea of how this works. So 2.5, the very first one I'm going to solve for you is at the top on page 64. I just want to talk it through you, talk it through to you while I solve some problems, and it'll help to make it more sense, and you'll get a couple of free answers. So what does it mean by clearing the decimals? Well, the very first thing you have to read is that the directions say solve each equation after clearing decimals and then check your solution. So the problem says m plus 0.5 equals 2.5. Okay, now don't write this down, but just listen to me. If I didn't clear the decimal, okay, if I didn't clear the decimal, if I've had no idea how to clear the decimal and I'd never done that before, I could still solve this problem. I would just simply say, this says add zero point 0.5 to m, and since I want to get m by itself, I'm just going to simply subtract 0.5, okay? And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And I'm going to simply subtract 0.5 here, and these are going to cancel, and I'm going to end up with m equals 2. Or if you want to get real fancy, you could say 2.0. Okay, that is just one way that you could simply solve it. It's really not that complicated of a problem. But when we're talking about clearing the fractions, clearing the decimals, which is a similar technique to clearing the fractions, the only reason that you would do it is just to make your life a little bit easier when these problems get complicated. So they show us on really easy problems so that we can learn how to do it, and then we can do it on complicated problems. So what you are looking at is, what you want to do is look at your decimal. And both of these decimals, if they were moved one place, like this, if you moved them one place, then they would be whole numbers and no longer decimals. So how can I move 2.5 to just a 25? What would I need to times it by? If I'm just moving the decimal one place, then I would just need to times it by 10. Okay, you could put this into your calculator, junky calculator. 2.5 times 10, and I get 25. Okay, because it's just one spot over, just moving the decimal one spot, multiply by 10, and it's going to give me 25. I don't have to deal with a decimal anymore. Okay, well, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So let me go up here real fast and make this equal sign so you can see it. And now I'll go back and get my green again. So what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So if I'm going to multiply one side by 10, then I have to multiply the other side by 10. Okay, we already said that 10 times 2.5 is 25, so that side's finished. And over on this side, we're going to have to use the distributive property. So 10 times m is 10m, and 10 times 0.5 is 5. So I just cleared my decimals. All I tried to do was just get rid of decimals so that I could work with whole numbers. So now basically I have a problem that says 10m plus 5 equals 25. Well, I want to get rid of this 5. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. So that's going to leave me with 10m on the left-hand side. These cancel, so that's going to leave me with 25, take away 5, which is just 20. Now it says 10 times m equals 20. So if I divide both sides by 10, then I would clear out that m and have it by itself. So m is going to equal 2. So you can see it's the exact same thing. We're just using the strategy called clearing the decimal, which just pretty much meant that I only needed to move my decimal one place, so I multiplied it by 10. I just want to convert my decimal into a whole number, and then I just go ahead and solve the equation like I normally would. And when I solve an equation, I don't simplify it. I find like x equals whatever it is, or m equals whatever it is. And at the very end, it says check the solution. Well, remember, I check by taking what I believe m, or the unknown, is, and I put it back into the problem. So here's how I check. M plus 0.5 equals 2.5. I believe m is 2, so I'm going to straight substitute it, and I'm just putting 2m for m plus 0.5 equals 2.5, and I want a true statement when I check it. So 2 plus 0.5, you can put this into your calculator if you want to, but it's literally just 2.5 equals 2.5. And so since they check, guys, you're in. That's your problem. Okay, so this is not what you have to do. I just did this part for you to show you that it's possible to solve the problem even without clearing the decimals. You just need to learn the strategy. It's just a technique. It's just a strategy that you're trying to learn. So you'll be able to clear out the decimals for all of these. Now, listen, if you look at page 64, the practice problems is it's 1 to 18. And then you have a handful of review problems. And down at the bottom, you're going to see this review, and it comes all the way over to here. Okay, this is a lot of problems, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed. So I'm going to put this in the notes as well, but the only thing you need to do on pages 64 and 65 is all the problems that have the blue flag. Okay, that's for the regular, that's for the review, and for this big review of solving linear equations. So every problem that has a blue flag is what you're going to be responsible for lesson 2.5. You should be pretty good by this point, but just to give you a couple extra examples, I'm going to jump down to the review problem, okay, the review problem number 5. It says simplify each expression. If I'm simplifying, I'm just cleaning it up. So -5 minus 9, okay? If you want to rewrite this and have the addition of the opposite, you can say -5 plus a -9, okay? For my folks who like the addition of the opposite or the algebraic arithmetic, that's fine. Okay, but basically I'm just combining. Like I lost $5 and then I lost $9. So I have a total loss, -14. So if that gives you any problem, we can keep working on it, but I just wanted to give you that one as an example. And then I'm going to do the review number 1 under the review of solving linear equations. And that one looks like this. And I'm jumping ahead without pausing today, so you're feel free to pause me if you want. Just trying to give you an idea of what we'll be doing in this lesson. It's really simple. So number 1 on page 64, bottom half, review of solving linear equations. X plus 5 equals 15. Well, I need to get x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 5. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. These 5s are going to go away. That only leaves x on the left-hand side, and 15 take away 5 is 10. And they do say check, so I need to rewrite my problem. X plus 5 equals 15. I believe that x is 10, so I'm going to put 10 in for it. 10 plus 5 equals 15. Hopefully I get a true statement and I'll know it's correct. 10 plus 5 is 15 equals 15. Since this is true, this is correct. So really this entire lesson should be pretty easy. Clearing the fractions and clearing the decimals are very similar. So clearing the decimals is just like clearing the fractions. That's what I was trying to say. So that's the practice part. And you only have a handful of problems to do there because you only have to do the ones that are in blue. Then look at the review 2.5 section. And again, you only have a handful of problems. They're all review problems and only the ones in blue. And then the review of solving linear equations. This is easy. It's just finding x or finding the unknown. Most of these really only require maybe 1 or 2 steps. Remember the golden rule, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. And again, you only have to do the ones with the blue flag on it. Okay, good luck and rock on. You can totally do this. I have total faith. Bye.